There it goes. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the next episode of You've Got Malex. I don't even know what number it is. Woo! um, Today I'm going to be going on some Alaska facts just because, I'm from Alaska and I'm obsessed with it. And I will find any excuse to talk about it. Speaking of Alaska, this is Taku Lake right behind me. I took this picture Saturday night. This was just me. It's literally like I walked down there and it was a picture and there was a ton of seagulls and eagles. And Melanie, you've been to Taku Lake.
Yeah, Taco Lake.
Taco Lake, exactly. Because the school that we both worked at, I also went to school from like preschool to 8th grade there, and it's like the opposite direction, but about the same distance to Taco Lake. And we would walk there with the kids, and so I walk there from my house now, and so it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Do you?
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, do you remember seagulls being there?
No,
There?
Okay. I don't remember like seagulls at all.
Right.
In my life.
Oh, like ever. Okay.
In Alaska.
Oh, really? Okay. No, we've had seagulls my whole life, but like specifically at Taku Lake, like I've had seagulls like in my hand keeps like going in and out. That's fun. But like at my house, they've been there was just like a buttload of seagulls just like chilling in my area. Like one specifically was just like hanging out on my porch, when I'm like, I'm not that close to like like Anchorage is by like the inlet, so it's like big piece of water, but I'm not like on that side of town really. Mm-hmm. So I'm not used to that many seagull. Like there's some, but not like a lot. And then I walked down to Taku Lake, and not only was there a buttload of seagulls, there was also like 3 or 4 eagles going in and out.
That's much cooler.
And all those spots there, like on the lake, that's like frozen spots, which crazy enough, the next day, because I walked there again on Sunday, almost all of that was gone.
Oh, wow. Well, you got that picture just in time then.
Right. Well, I mean, it was still beautiful, but yeah, like, so the seagulls and the eagles were like landing on the ice there. And I don't think there's that many fish. I mean, I know people fish in Taku Lake, but I don't know if there's anything like actually good there. I don't know. So I was just curious if you had remembered seagulls there, because I was like, I don't remember ever seeing seagulls there before, and yet there were a ton there. So I don't know. It was real random.
That's my number one memory of Taku Lake was like going there with the kids, and then I said it was a really cloudy day, and then the clouds started to clear up, and I said, oh, here comes the sun. And then one of the little girls said, doo 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 doo.
Yay! That's so cute. Yes, like, no, it's like Taku Lake has always been like, there are times where it's pretty, but if you look really close, it's like kind of gross. Like there was literally like a dead fish just like belly up, like laying there, and then and then like that was a clean tennis ball just like stuck there in the lake, and but
maybe that's what killed the fish.
I don't know, but I never really thought that there was like a whole lot going on. Like it doesn't get a whole lot of circulation, so it's like it's not like a nice lake. It's just like a convenient lake. So yeah, I don't know, but I like it. I keep this seeing the seagulls. It just makes me think of all those memes. It's like, look, nature is returning back. We are the virus. Like, because that's how it feels. Like
when I was in college, me and my college roommate, we used to, anytime we would hear seagulls, we lived like probably about 45 minutes from a beach. And anytime we would hear seagulls, we would say, go home, seagulls. This isn't a beach. And just like yell at them.
That's fair. I mean, like, I know my mom, well, actually, that's funny because I was saying I don't see seagulls in this area, but like my mom's office isn't that far from my house, and she like they have problems with like nests of seagulls in their area. I mean, like, I do kind of live in, like, it's kind of a marshy area, so there is, like, because I have the Campbell Creek Trail or whatever right next to it, so, but I just never thought of seagulls, like, living near, like, marshes, because they're seagulls, not, like, marsh
Yeah.
gulls or lake
We
gulls,
could call them lake gulls and marsh gulls.
swamp gulls, like, because I think that there I feel like there's other types of gulls. I just don't know, like, I don't know
Yeah,
much about birds, but
we'll call them marsh gulls.
marsh
It
gulls.
sounds like marshall or like marshmallow, but like marsh gulls.
Speaking of marshmallows, which is like totally off topic, I think I had mentioned to you that I wanted to make Rice Krispies. Yeah, I did, because you Rice Krispies. I remember this. Um, and when I went to the grocery store, there were literally no marshmallows like in the.
Yeah,
Yeah,
everybody's baking, so all the baking stuff is sold out.
yeah, I had to get yeast on Amazon.
Wow.
Yeah.
I luckily had I had a thing of regular yeast and a thing of instant yeast, so I was good to go. But like a giant like
Yeah.
jar of it. Um, but like I wanted bread flour, can't find any bread flour. I finally got some sugar. I wanted to make haystacks, and you use chow mein noodles for that,
Oh
and
yeah.
I couldn't even find chow mein noodles.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
I ended up finding them in a different grocery store, but the first one I went to, I couldn't find them.
Yeah. Like the grocery store that I went to, like, baking aisle was fairly cleared out, but a lot of the other stuff, the beans have returned. So that's how nature is back. But yeah, there used to, like, when everything first started happening, like, there were no beans left.
No
Um,
beans, no rice.
no beans, no rice or grain of any kind. The rice was picked through, but there was still some left last time I was there. Yeah. But yeah, I've been living off of to-go food. I'll be good and, like, cook a couple things, and then I'll be like, yeah, I'm ordering food.
Yeah, well, I mean, like I started door dashing, like driving for DoorDash this week. And
Mhm.
I will tell you that I have door dashed more this week than I ever have. Like door dashed for myself more this week than I ever did before, because I'm like, I saw somebody the other day that they ordered a banana, peanut butter, and chocolate milkshake. And so I was like, I have to have it. So I got that today. And then yesterday somebody got Cheesecake Factory. So I was like, well, I need that too. So that's what I had for dinner.
How was the banana peanut butter chocolate milkshake?
It was great. I think next time I would get it without peanut butter, because the peanut butter flavor was just like overpowering the banana, and the banana was more what I wanted. But so I think I would do banana and then chocolate. But yeah, the peanut butter was a little too much. It was still good. It was just too much.
I was like, I feel like those flavors go well together, but I do think that peanut butter can be a very strong flavor. Like, um, yeah. So, we're gonna talk about. Get out of my way. There's so many things popping up. Stop it. Stop it, security web thing. I don't want your business right now. Okay. So I have a Word document. So if I look like my eyes are glazing over, I'm looking at it.
Okay.
So I tried to. Most of them are like true or false sort of things to see if you can, like, guess. Which I know that you lived in Alaska for a while, so you may know a lot of these, but for funsies, I'm doing it anyway. So the first fact, I guess I'll just go in order. I don't know. Well, yeah, I guess I'll go in that order. Sure. Okay, so true or false, the November 2018 earthquake was the largest in Alaska history.
False.
That is correct. I
Is
should
it
put my points on it.
the 1960s earthquake? 1950s, 60s?
Yeah, the 1964. So 1964 Good Friday earthquake was the largest ever recorded in Alaska and U.S. history, and the
Wow.
second largest in world history. Magnitude of 9.2, lasting 4 minutes and 38 seconds, which is
Wow.
insane.
It was devastating.
Dude, Okay, so I have a buttload of facts. You can see why I literally went down an earthquake rabbit hole, because it's fascinating. But I do want to tell you about my experience with the November 2018 earthquake, which I know you know a lot of it, or like all of it really, but I want to tell people, just because not everyone lives in an earthquake zone, and like as someone who lives in Alaska, like we're so prepared for these things that like the November 2018 earthquake was a 7.1, which like the what is the word? The Richter scale is exponential. Yeah, so it's like 9.2, the 1964 is like way bigger, even though the 7.1 was still insane. So like I was getting ready for work. I almost never eat breakfast before I go to work. Until I started working at home, because it's a lot easier to do that now. The time that I would spend driving is usually when I eat now. But I was trying to leave for work, and like my cat Danny, I only had the one at the time. She would like follow me as I get ready for work every day, and she hadn't been following me around. And so I was like, that's weird. I haven't seen her all morning. And so like a couple minutes before I leave, I'm like, let me just go check and make sure that she's okay. And I go upstairs and she's hiding under my bed. And I'm like, that's weird. Okay, well, as long as she's okay, it's fine. And so I go back downstairs, and I had one of those clementines, and I'm like taking the peel off of that, and all of a sudden the earthquake hits, and it's like the whole thing, my power went out almost immediately. And this was, the beginning of winter for us, so it's pretty dark out, and it's 8:30 in the morning. It's like it was pretty dark out, so I like really couldn't see anything. And I knew where I was standing in my kitchen that there wasn't a whole lot that would fall on you, because like protocol for earthquakes, you like go under something to protect you from falling, stuff from falling on you essentially. But I couldn't see, and I knew that if I moved, there were plenty of things to fall on me, because you've been to my house. Like I had like all of these like bottles and whatever, my house.
That's what I was thinking, like your kitchen would be one of the worst places to be.
Yes. But I'm like, I don't know, I can't see, so I can't go anywhere. And I knew like where I was standing, it would have to jump pretty far to fall on me. So I was like, I guess this is probably fine. But yeah, I have like all these bottles and stuff, because even though it looks like, the frat boy who like saves all the liquor bottles and stuff, it was really like my intention, like I'm going to recycle these, and just never got around to it. Or use them for a project.
Or for projects. Yeah, it's projects.
Which never happened. I did eventually I have taken a bunch of them to recycling since, though.
Good.
But I can hear wine bottles falling down and crashing. And that's another reason why I didn't want to move anywhere, because I didn't want to step on broken glass. And so I just kind of waited it out. And in Alaska, like, we're so used to earthquakes. I was like, my boss works in Soldotna, so she's not in the Anchorage area. She's about like 3 hours down south. Although like direct, that's like the long way, but you have to go across the inlet to get there. So it's not as far. But I just text her, and I'm like, hey, we just had a big earthquake. I need to clean up some broken glass, and then I'll head in, thinking that it's Alaska, it's an earthquake, it's fine, right? And so I text her, and she's like, yeah, we felt it down here too. Are you okay, or whatever? And then like I told her I was okay, and then my text stopped working after that. And so I like tried to text her, nothing's going through, and then I was like, oh crap, my mom's gonna freak out. And so I'm like trying to text my mom, and it's not going through, and I'm like, crap. So then I tried to message them on Facebook, that's not going through. And so I like posted on Facebook, which it wasn't going through. Eventually it did, like an hour later or something. So I'm just like, I put on the flashlight on my phone, I go out to my garage, get my real flashlight, because I am that person who is literally like apocalypse prepped like most times. Like I literally have like basically a full set of camping gear in my back, the trunk of my car at all times. And so I'm like, let me just go get my stuff, go and like sweep everything, start sweeping stuff up, and then there's like a knock on my door, and it's my mom. And my mom's like, I haven't heard from your grandparents. We got to go get out there. And so I'm like, I was totally chill until that happened. I was like, oh, like, because the earthquake was, which I didn't know until that point, was centered in the valley, which is where my grandparents live. They literally live like 30 feet from a cliff, like very much in danger zone. And so I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. And so she helps me like clean up a little bit, and because I can't drive. I mean, I could have like manually like lifted the garage door or something, but I wasn't planning on I'm like, no, let's just go. Because she's like, we have to drive out there. I'm like, okay. Well, at this point, a tsunami warning had been put into effect, so literally everyone in town is evacuating. Like, they're driving up the mountain, and so like the roads are packed. There's only like 2 radio stations that are still working, and they're like telling everyone like, okay, here's what you do to stay safe, blah 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 blah, everyone, and trying to like take calls, check on people, all that stuff. And so we ended up just going to my mom's office, which is really close to my house. And so we went down there, and as soon as we show up, like my mom owns a family business, so like the whole family's there. So one of my aunts is like laughing, joking, playing it off. Other aunt is like crying and freaking out. She like rolled her ankle running away, because my mom owns a sign shop, and they make like, you know, like road signs and stuff. So they have huge, heavy sheets of aluminum, all these like giant, heavy, large machinery to cut the aluminum and things like that. So they had a machine, I don't know what it was, fall off a second story and land on a truck. And
oh my
some of the
God.
guys like were like this close from getting hit by it. My like one of the, like, you could see my aunt has carpet in her office, and like you could see how the ground had like shifted underneath it, like,
wow.
they had it looked like they may have had a gas leak, so they were trying to figure that out. And then one of their employees, like, he had security cameras in his house, and he was literally like on camera watching his house flood.
Wow.
So like I see everyone checking in on Facebook. I remember you were like, I know you had like messaged me later or something. I think you had on Voxer and like texted to see if I was okay, which everything took forever because like a bunch of stuff was down. There was actually a fire like down the road from my mom's office too. Bunch of just crazy stuff. And so like, again, still hadn't heard from my grandparents. It had been like an hour. I'm helping my mom clean up because they have all these file cabinets that had fallen over. So we're just picking stuff up. And then my aunt, who had been laughing, comes into my mom's office and just starts bawling on her. She's like, I was gonna go visit her daughter, my cousin, lives in Seattle. She was gonna go fly down, but they had like shut down the airports. And she was like sobbing, and then I was like, oh, this is feeling pretty real right now.
Yeah.
And eventually found out that work was closed, which at that point I was kind of like, I think that they know that I'm not coming in, but I didn't have no way of letting them know other than like Facebook. So yeah, then we were messing around, like we were cleaning and whatever, and eventually like I realized that I hadn't really eaten anything. And I was getting really hangry, and so my mom had like apples and then like candy that they keep at the front desk, so I just like ate a bunch of that. And then like, so the earthquake was at 8:30. I was probably at my mom's office at like 9. Like noon hit, and I was just done. Like I was like, I'm done, guys. Like I'm tired. And everyone was like trying to check on their houses, but traffic was so crazy backed up that it was like, we can't go anywhere right now. But
well, everyone was trying to leave town, right, because of the tsunami that was going to happen.
Yeah, which they actually they took down the tsunami warning. There didn't end up being a tsunami, which I there's different types of earthquakes, and so some are more likely to create a tsunami. Like I said, I went down an earthquake rabbit hole. I don't remember all the details of like I just know that the 64 earthquake was called a subduction, and it's like where, because it's like there's two plates, the two tectonic plates, and one of them like literally went under the other, and so like the ground like shifted like 30 feet in some places, and just crazy stuff. But this one was like a different type, but I don't know, again, I don't know the details because I would like to, I'm very curious, but yeah, so then also another fun thing I learned from this earthquake, there's something called earthquake lightning, where like, because I don't know the science, I just know that my uncle was driving, like he was on his way to work to drop off my aunt, and he literally saw it like arc across, there was like lightning that just like arced across the road,
Wow.
and he had seen like there'd been some like shifting of the ground, and he like, because he was in his car, and all of a sudden he was like, oh, this is an earthquake, like just insanity. So like that was, and then I went home. I hadn't even looked upstairs by the time I got home, so it was like noon. I got home, and and by the way, throughout this whole time we're having aftershocks. So there was like an aftershock like within a couple minutes of the first one, and then a little bit later more. My mom, my uncle who was at my mom's office said that there was like the sheetrock created like a flurry of like dust, like you couldn't even see during a couple of them, because it was just like and then got home, went upstairs, checked on Danny, poor baby, she was just like hiding behind the couch, and what my dresser in my bedroom had fallen over. Luckily, like it didn't break anything, and just had to push it back up. But yeah, and then the afternoon I watched This Is the End. It felt appropriate, and just sat there and like vegged out. And it was a Friday, so, which is funny because like another big earthquake on a Friday, because the 64 earthquake was the Good Friday earthquake. So just another big one. But yeah, then we chilled out the rest of the weekend, back to work. I know one of my coworkers ended up having to like leave early because she was so like wound up from the aftershocks, which is fair because it was like you'd be fine, and then it's just like again, you're like, okay, it's fine. And then like you'd try and sleep, and then like another one, and like it went on. I remember there was one on like New Year's Eve. So like from November 30th, it was like over a month, we were still having like aftershocks. And of course they always say that there's always a chance that there's like another one that's even bigger. It's just crazy. So
well, and to like round out this story also, your grandparents were okay.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Oh, I forgot to say that. Sorry. Yes. Yes. My grandparents were okay. So after like 3 hours or so, we eventually got a call through, because it just like a lot of the systems were down. And actually, okay, I wanted to show some pictures. So there's this one, which is probably one of the most well seen. This was like near the epicenter, out in the valley. So I had people. I know people were describing it as like if God just came down and punched the earth, which I
believe. That's what it looks like.
Yeah. So that was one of the crazy ones. And then a couple people also saw this one was another common one, which this is like right down the road from my house. This is on the way to the airport.
So this picture is the first picture that I saw when the earthquake happened.
Yeah.
Which my dad was in the hospital, and he was really, really sick. He had sepsis at that point, and I was sitting with him, just me, nobody else was there. And then I like was on my phone, saw those pictures, and was like, well, first off, my dad was so sick that he like thought that we were living in Germany still, which we lived in Germany like 15 years ago. He was like very like, he didn't know what was going on anywhere, like in his everyday life. So anyways, the earthquake happened. I saw the pictures, that picture in particular, and was like, oh my gosh, Dad, there was just this huge earthquake like in Alaska. And I'm like showing him the pictures, and he's just like, Oh, wow. Like, okay. Like, he doesn't like say much about it, but I'm just like, this is like a huge deal. Where is everybody to talk about this
Yeah.
with?
Mhm.
And so then,
No.
you know, and then I had to, you know, make sure that everyone I knew that's there was okay
Mhm.
and everything. But yeah, that's the first picture I saw, I think.
Yeah, and this is like, you know, they had this repaired within a week. Like they had,
Mhm.
and like the other one, it was like the other picture that they um that I showed, they also had that repaired, not like the full like detail repaired, it was kind of like the band-aid fix, but
Mhm.
like that kind of shows you like how prepared Alaska is for earthquakes. Like we do what's called, like, what is it, the Great Alaska Shakeout every year. And they do like 1 minute, everyone just pretends that there's an earthquake, drop, cover, hold on are the rules. So you get under a table, desk, whatever, and hold on. So like I was supervisor in the call center and we were doing it, and I literally told everyone, I was like, okay guys, everyone get down, and like two or three people did it, and I was like, okay, all of you are dead right now. And that was like the year before this happened, and I was like,
Uh-huh.
see, I told you for a reason. Like, I'm not playing, this is a real threat, please be ready.
See, we just had an earthquake here like
Mhm.
a few weeks ago. It's been since like the coronavirus and stuff. Because I was at my mom's house, and it doesn't happen here. Like it's
Yeah.
very unusual. It was like a 5.6, I think, so it wasn't a small one.
Yeah.
But then I like ran to a doorway, and my mom was
Mhm.
like, we need to go outside. And so she ran outside. So I ran after her, and I was like, I don't like what is the correct response here? And I
Mhm.
was like, we finally decided the correct response was whatever you do in panic to feel safe.
I mean, like, yeah, the basic thing is like try and go to a place where you're not going to get hit by something,
Mhm.
essentially. So outside can be a thing, but like depending on how bad it is, like you could, like, trees fall over. Um
We're in Boise. We don't have any
I
trees.
guess that's true. You guys don't have that many trees. But yeah, like I know that they used to say doorways, but doorways are kind of a mixed bag because, like, one, everyone knows doorways, so a lot of people go there, and two, if there's an actual door in that doorway, it can swing and like hit you,
Mhm.
which that doesn't help anyone. So yeah, now it's just drop, cover, hold on. Um, yeah, but it was crazy because like our building at work is on rollers, which is literally like, i I don't know the mechanics of it, but basically it kind of helps the building like take the shaking better, although it also makes it kind of last longer. If I remember one time like being on the phones and we had like, I don't know, it was like a 4.5 or something, and
Mhm.
hearing someone in a different department, because I was on the phone with someone in a different department, and hearing the supervisor be like, everyone get under your desks. I was like, oh crap, yeah. But it just like kept going and going and going, and then it finally like
Mhm.
chills out. But yeah, like Alaska, I remember there was like shortly, not too long after we had ours, California had a couple big earthquakes, and I remember like hearing about like how no one seemed to know what to do, and I'm like, that seems crazy to me
Mhm.
because like they're in a fault zone just as much as we are. And I've heard more mixed things since, but it was just like, I don't know. I guess in panic, that's definitely a
Yeah.
thing, but as someone who's been like raised doing it, like I was like, if you live in a zone like that, like you got to know.
Like, well, I was like that because that my thing was I was like, why would we go outside? Trees will fall up on us. And my mom was like, if we stay inside, our house will fall on us. And I was like, okay. Anyways, but yeah, so it lasted probably about a minute. It wasn't nearly as intense as some of the earthquakes I dealt with in Alaska. I remember the one but everybody was going crazy though because it doesn't happen here. But
Well, yeah.
but the one that like I really remember in Alaska was one that like I was sleeping and it woke me up out of my sleep. because it was big enough to do that. I'm not a light sleeper, so yeah.
No, I remember one like 2016. It was sometime in January because I know it was a Saturday night, and it was like 1 a.m, and I was just about to go to bed, and then all of a sudden it hit, and it was crazy. Like everyone was talking after the 2018 earthquake, like how you pick up the different flavors of the earthquakes, but like the 2016 one, it was like waves. Like it was crazy because it was a decent size. I think it was 6 something. And like I have not like a chandelier, not like a fancy one, but a light that's on a chain, and it was swinging back and forth, but literally nothing broke, but it felt like the whole house was like doing this.
Yeah, that's what our earthquake felt like. This like that.
Yeah.
Like, and the one that I remember like so specifically in Alaska was one that felt like this.
Yeah, like someone's taking you and like shaking it. That's how the 2018 one felt like.
It felt like really weird to be in this earthquake that we had in Idaho, because it felt like the ground underneath was going like that.
Yeah, no, that one was crazy. I remember like the 2016 one, I remember feeling nauseous because it literally felt like the ground was like moving, but I had gone downstairs to make sure nothing fell over, which literally nothing fell, but it was just like something, I think there's like something to do with directions, and then like again, different types of earthquakes. But yeah, like, so we like a 2018 earthquake, everyone's like, oh, that one was one of the shaky ones. Oh no, this was a wavy one. And like everyone was talking about like the different flavors, because you become an expert after a while, you know, when you have like, I wrote it down, wait, there were, okay, oh, I didn't write down how many there were, but there were like, it was over and over again, but I think there was over 40 that were like 4.5 and up. Within like the next month. So just like over and over again.
So when the one here happened, I was like, from living in Alaska, I was just like, that one was tiny. Like there's no way that it was above like a 3. That's what I was like saying. And then it came out that it was a 5.6, and I was like, really? That was I felt like nothing.
Yeah.
But you know, a lot of people, it was it was the first time they'd ever experienced any kind of earthquake, so it was much bigger to them than
that's one of those things, like I'm so used to it, and I don't know, I guess I've never, like the 2018 one was the worst that I had dealt with, and like literally no one died. There were some injuries, like mostly from people like running, like rolled ankles, things like that, but like nothing serious, because again, like Alaska was super prepared. Like I think we had a really good response, so it was really cool. And so a lot of that is due to the 1964 earthquake, which I had a couple questions on because I think that it's really cool. So cool, not in like hey, a bunch of people died, that's fun. It was like it's just like, it's fascinating.
History,
it's history,
right?
yeah, it's just like this, and so much came from this. So 131 people were reported to have died due to the earthquake and due to the 1964 earthquake and the after effects. How many of those were due to the earthquake itself? Or any guesses?
55.
Only 9 were directly were from the earthquake itself. The remaining 122 were from tsunamis around the world.
Wow.
Like so they were literally
like not even in Alaska.
Not even in Alaska. They had 5 people in Oregon and 12 in Crescent City, California, which is almost 2,000 miles away. Yeah,
that's crazy.
Like that just shows you like how big of how crazy the effects were. They actually saw, like, even in Australia they had like big waves just from the earthquake. So like one of my friends, Kayla, she does plays at UA. She's in the theater department. And they did they wrote a play about the 1964 earthquake from the perspective of the people in, I think it was in California, or maybe it was in Oregon, but it was one of the people who died, like, just who had literally no idea that this was coming, because it was like, who would have thought?
Who would know?
Yeah, so that's the kind of thing that I think is just crazy, and like this is where I went down the rabbit hole. So like the 64 earthquake was like one of the biggest things that like it taught scientists so much about earthquakes, including the theory of plate tectonics itself. So like how that we have the plates, like the earth. I'm so bad at this. I'm sorry. Like I don't know science as well. I just know that so there's like the different plates, and I know that there's different names, you know, like within under each continent on what the land is. And so like it was two major tectonic plates that moved, and that's why it was so crazy big, is because like there are fault lines like within the plates themselves, and then there's like the plates. And so the National Tsunami Warning Center and the Alaska Division of Emergency Centers, or Division of Emergency Services, were created as a response to the 64 earthquake, which.
Well, that's good news.
So yeah, and that's like the main reason why no one died in our November 2018 earthquake is because of all the things that we learned. And most important of which is the strict building codes. We have like some of the best. They said Alaska and California have like the best building codes in the country, which makes sense if you're.
You have to.
You kind of have to. Let me show you some of the pictures. These ones are even crazier. Like you think that this was. So this is downtown Anchorage.
Wow.
Yeah, so you can see like the ground shifted, and like we have Earthquake Park, they call it, where they kept, and you can still see like some of the damage there. But yeah, like it's funny because I live in Anchorage. I go to downtown Anchorage all the time, but you can.
Is that like 4th Avenue?
I believe so. Yeah. They had to like rebuild everything. So many people were trying to like get back into business, and the scientists, they had a report within like I think it was a little over a month, but they like did, but people wanted to rebuild, and they're like, wait, let's learn more before you just like go rebuilding stuff. And they learned more to give them recommendations on how to like keep the buildings from being destroyed as badly and things like that. And that's why we have such good.
So did they build on top of that, or did they slope it down?
That I'm not 100% sure. I don't know. Like,
because you know how like downtown it's kind of like on a slope.
Well, like I think downtown was already kind of on a slope, but I don't know. Like, yeah, I honestly don't know how that played out. Like how they could build on that, honestly. Like, do you just fill the whole thing with asphalt? Like, I don't know. Like that, I'll have to go down that. Like I said, I had to stop myself because
Where's Pioneer Loans gonna go?
Exactly. D&D Cafe. Like, I want to know what that's about.
TV show.
Like, TV show. Like, what is that? Yeah, no, like just. And then here's another one. You can see, like, it literally looks like the world, it looks distorted. Like it's distorted, but it's literally like the ground just kind of like yeah, it's crazy.
Is that where Earthquake Park is?
I believe so, yeah. And I know that there's a bunch of houses in that area, so like there was a whole neighborhood where because there was like there's a, what's the term? There's a term called liquefaction, or a thing called liquefaction, where basically the ground.
Your head disappeared for a second.
Oh, Bames is trying to come and hang out. He has a thing where he likes to jump up and try to jump on the back of the chair, which I don't know why he does, but yeah. No, it's called liquefaction, where the ground basically acts like liquid with the way that it's shaking. And so there was a huge landslide, and it eliminated like, I can't remember the number, but it was like a whole neighborhood, and then they just like rebuilt houses in the same area. Hi, baby, come here. You want to come up here? There we go. Hi, baby. Okay. Yeah, so okay, come here. Are you coming? No, he just wants to tease mommy. But yeah, that I just like I could probably spend like we could spend a whole podcast probably talking about that.
Well, I mean, we have pretty much.
Basically, oh, sorry, Kat. I'm just trying to like be in frame, and you're not helping, but it's fine. Okay, I'm gonna go back to my previous background so it's not too distract. But where was I at? But yeah, no, I think the whole thing is fascinating, and maybe we'll come back to it and just do like a whole thing on that.
Mhm.
But let's see. So, how big was the largest tsunami recorded as a result of the earthquake, the 1964 earthquake?
I don't know the tsunami scale.
I know.
A 5.
Well, no, like literally in feet. Like how many feet?
Um,
He's mad because I'm not giving him my full attention.
1,200 feet.
Okay, that's a lot. It's 200, which is still a lot.
Oh yeah, my first guess was gonna be 120, and I was like, well, that's not too high.
It's high. Like I feel like I remember someone saying like, I don't know. I don't know enough about tsunamis either, so I don't think that I would have a good guess. But like, yeah, 200 feet is still like crazy.
That's like 20 stories.
Yeah, that's like huge, and there literally there was a whole village on the coast of Alaska that like got wiped out. There was trying to remember how many people there were, but like there's I think like 30 people survived or something, like over a third of, or was it a third that survived or a third that died? I don't know, but it was like the whole village. Basically, the whole village got swept into the ocean.
Wow.
Yeah, like it's crazy. So that was a lot of big, crazy stuff happened as a result of that, like all throughout the world. So it's fascinating.
It really is.
Then, okay, so off earthquakes now, let's go to our next natural disaster, volcanoes. Yay! So, true or false, Alaska, specifically Nova Rupta, is the site of the largest volcanic eruption in the 20th century.
Let me think for a second.
Okay.
Feel free to overlay some Jeopardy music here. I'm gonna say false.
It's actually true. But it was a long time ago, so it's one of those things. So in June 6, 1912, there was a 3-day eruption at Mount Katmai / Nova Rupta, where the ash spread thousands of miles, covering southern Alaska, western Canada, and all the way to Seattle. The area became known as the Valley of 10,000 Smokes. And the ash cloud, so it started June 6th, and by June 10th, the ash cloud made it all the way to Virginia, and by June 17th, it went all the way to Algeria in Africa.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know. Were you here it was when Redoubt was erupting? Yeah. So
yeah, and it was all, yes.
I just remember we went to a movie, and when I came out, it almost looked like it had snowed.
Yeah.
Like ash everywhere. And I had to I was staying in the dorms because I think it erupted a couple times within recent time, because it's like one of the most active volcanoes like in Alaska, and like a lot. This one I have to look up because I don't remember like how big of a deal it is, but I know it's like a super active volcano. But it I had to I was trying to seal up my windows at UAA, trying to tape it so ash couldn't get in, and we were trying to find masks and stuff, and yeah.
Maybe I wasn't there for that one specifically, but I do remember it erupting, and like flights were being delayed or something.
Okay.
I don't remember exactly like details or anything, but it was like be careful when you go outside. Like don't go. Try to stay inside because you
Mhm.
don't want to be breathing it in. But
Yeah. No, and I mean, that's essentially like, because I know it's erupted like frequently. It was
mhm.
just, there was one time where there was actual ash in Anchorage, and then, but that would have been like 2009, so I don't think,
Yeah, I
but
wasn't
then,
there. Well, I was there. I was there. I moved there in 2009.
okay. I'm trying to remember what time of year. I think it was early 2009, like, or like spring or summer. I don't remember, but yeah.
Yeah, I moved there like May 1st, 2009.
Okay.
So, and then I was also there like every summer and Christmas time since 2006. So,
hmm But yeah, like it was, that one. I remember we had to get like masks, and they were telling people not to drive because you don't want ash to get like in the parts of your car, because it's basically like impossible to get out. It can cause all sorts of issues. So yeah, there's all sorts of stuff on volcanoes, and I could have gone down that rabbit hole too, but I had to stop because again, I was running. I spent so long on earthquakes. Um, let's see. True or false? Alaska is half the size of the rest of the United States.
false.
That's
It's
correct.
pretty, it's pretty close though.
It was further than I thought. So Alaska is 663,300 square miles. The rest of the US is 3,133,700 square miles, meaning that the rest of the US is 4.7 times large, or yeah, is 4.7 times larger than Alaska. I wrote than the US. But so it's actually like, I thought that Alaska was bigger in comparison to that, but it's still like big.
I
Uh,
just remember seeing Alaska laid over the top of the rest of the
and
United
it
States.
makes, yeah, and it looks huge because I mean
Yeah.
it is. Um, that's one that I like. I always want to make sure people know, because especially with like the way that they display the maps, people don't know that very often.
hmm
And then true or false? Texas is the biggest state in the continental U.S.
False. Alaska is.
Boom. This is
Texas
another one.
is second though.
Texas is second, yes. No, I get mad
I've
because
lived in both Texas and Alaska, so I know that one.
yes. um, yeah, because Alaska, it's often shown separately on the map, and it's also smaller, so it can be really like, it's hard for people to know. And like two, I kind of put two bits in there that in the continental U.S., because people think that it's a different country. One, people don't even think that it's like a state. I've seen that. Like when we had the 2018 earthquake, they're like, why are we giving like stuff to other countries or something? Because when they declared it an emergency and we're sending federal aid, like it was like,
I don't know who these people are that are stupid enough to think that.
well, I heard that people in Texas like were literally being taught that Texas was the biggest state, which I'm like, what? And
I when I was in where at least where I was in Texas, we were taught Texas was the second biggest state. So I
yeah,
mean, I knew Alaska was the biggest state, even
before that.
forever. But yeah,
But yeah, people think that a lot of people think that Alaska is an island too, again, because of how it's shown on the map.
right.
And an island with like a perfectly straight border
Yeah,
on the east side, that makes sense. You know how those volcanoes like make just like a perfectly straight line?
yeah, of
Yeah,
course.
like everyone does that. But yeah, no, so it's the biggest state in the continental US. It's still part of the continent. It's just not it's not contiguous continental, because a lot of merchants will tell you, oh, we only ship to the continental US. And I was like, BS, we are still part of North America. Don't play with me. And so like, I get it, we're further away, that's fine, but like, don't tell me it's only continental US, because that's
Yeah.
not real. So that's just one of those big Alaska struggles. And Well, I'll do one more that I didn't put in here. Alaska is almost 2.5 times the size of Texas, so that was a thing. But another just random one to throw in there, snowmobile or snow machine?
Snowmobile.
Foreigner. So that's how we know that people aren't from Alaska, because we call it a snow machine and people are all like, what is that? And it's like, no, we don't snowmobile here, we snow machine. That's the word. That's what we use, and that's how we determine outsiders. So that's that's just another fun Alaska fact. So if you want to blend in, that's how you do it. Is you use the term snow machine. I know that the rest of the U.S., which we refer to as the lower 48.
One of the things that I was gonna say was that you have to know that it's the lower 48. Like, that's what everybody says up there. Like, oh, I'm gonna go visit the lower 48, or oh, this came from the lower 48. Like, it's the lower 48.
Yeah, because the other stuff, like Hawaii is its own separate thing. Like, I feel like Alaska and Hawaii, we kind of have like this bond. Like, we're the last two were like the ones that aren't like connected, but we're both chill, and we're also both those ones that people like forget about and like don't understand. I just feel like I have a special connection to them for that.
Well, and everybody in Alaska visits Hawaii. Like, that is the place. Like, that's where you vacation. Like,
it's true.
Because flights are reasonable.
Mm-hmm. No, I went to Hawaii like almost every year around Christmas from like 2nd grade through like high school.
I've never been to Hawaii.
We still need to go. Like that we need to add that to the list.
Maybe that should be next year's trip.
Okay, I'm down. Like, I'm so down. I want to go back. And I've always gone there with family, and I feel like as much as I love my family, the last couple times I went with them, I'm like, you guys suck. Like, let's just do something. Like, I do like I do like a good balance of like being lazy on vacation, but also like you gotta have some adventure. You gotta do something fun, and everyone's just like, let's go to the beach, go to the pool, eat. Go to the beach, go to the pool, eat, shop. I'm like, I love all of those things. They are all good, but
let me tell you what I want to do. I want to go to Kauai and learn about the lepers.
What?
That's where they would send people with leprosy.
Oh, I think I may have heard about that.
And so it like killed a bunch of like native Hawaiians, and then like from leprosy, because people would like banish them, white people.
Yeah. Oh no, like, I mean, yeah, white people did a lot of horrible things to Native Alaskans and Native Hawaiians. Yeah, that I didn't get anything about Alaska Natives in here because one, I waited till the last minute to do a lot of this, and two, so then I was trying to like pull up the sources, and like the sources I was finding was like it either didn't have the information I wanted or it just didn't seem legit. Because like, so one of the things that they started requiring when I started going to like when I was in high school was everyone had to take a semester of Alaska studies. And so it's primarily like learning about Alaska Native culture, which I'm really glad we did. I actually did this at the elementary school / middle school I went to in 8th grade. We had like an Alaska geography test where we had to learn like 108 different like places and like things, so like lakes, rivers, like landmark things, and then we also learned like a couple like native stuff, and that was legit, and I was really glad I did that. But no, like I know that one of the girls I in one of my classes in college, like she had gone to school in Hawaii on the Big Island on the Hilo side, and she said that Native Hawaiians were not very happy to see white people. I'm like, I
wonder why.
I wonder why. Like, I wonder why that's a thing. Yeah, but yeah, no, I feel like there's definitely like this could be a whole other topic, so we probably don't need to go too in depth. But like, but yeah, like Native Alaskan stuff. Like I swear that I feel like Alaska does a decent job of like representing Native culture and a lot of things. Now, this is from my perspective as a white person, and so, but we have like the Native Olympics. They do like they have all sorts of like really cool sports. Like there's one. It's what is it called? Like it's toss basically. Like they have like the animal skin and they like toss people up in the air to get them like as high up, and then there's like 1 foot and 2 foot high kick. Like we did it in PE at our school. We tried a bunch of them and like it's super hard, but there's some like one of the guys, Nick something, he was on like American Ninja Warrior. Like he was really like the athleticism required to do that kind of stuff. Like they and the Alaska Federation of Natives, like they declared climate change like a global emergency. Like they do a lot of great stuff. Like maybe I'll do another Alaska one in the future where I talk more about this, because I feel like there's so many cool things, and I actually have like several Native friends who I'm sure would love to like talk about it.
Yeah. Well, and if you're ever in Anchorage, the Native Heritage Center is so interesting and so fun to go visit.
Oh yeah. You know, it's funny because I went to the Native Heritage Center like so many times, and the majority of it wasn't for the Heritage Center itself. It was for like events. So like we I did Scottish Highland, I did Scottish Highland dance for 8.5 years, and we'd always do I think every single year that I did it, they did Samhain, which is Celtic New Year, which is sort of, it's right around Halloween. They would do that at the Native Heritage Center, and they'd have like this, because in the back they have like this big circle that has a bonfire, and so they would have this awesome bonfire, and there's dancing and all sorts of stuff. And then my junior prom was there. I remember when I went there with the kids one time, like one of the kids was like because we had like a couple people who were like touring us around, and you know we're with a bunch of like 3 and 4 year olds, and one of the kids was like, "What happened to the fish?" or something. It was just like so, and they were asking about dinosaurs and fish, and you're just like, cool, okay. I mean, that's what they get out of it. Cool. Yeah, no, the Alaska,
I loved visiting there. It was always so like the outdoor part, where you go around and look at all the different like places. They like what did they call them?
They had like the different like the different like dwelling places. Yeah, like
dwellings. That's what I was gonna say.
Forever. I think there's a better word for it, but I don't remember. But yeah, no, that man, I like haven't thought about that in a while, but I really go back now. Although obviously I can't go right now, but okay, so
we should have gone there when I was there last summer.
Damn it, I didn't. Yeah, well, I was trying to go to all the places that were like that you like either that we were coming back to, like old stomping ground sort of things, or like
new stuff.
Either new that you wouldn't have seen while you were here. So that wasn't necessarily like top of the list, but okay.
Well, next time.
There you go.
Oh, another thing I was going to say, because we were talking about Hawaii, was don't expect a relaxing vacation in June next month.
Oh no, that's
relaxation.
Going to Disney. I don't expect that. I mean, like, I realize that there's just too much to do to have relaxation. As much as I do like a good balance, but I know that that's not going to be the case.
Yeah, sorry, there's not going to be any balance.
I need to step up my walking game though, because like my feet were so tired after walking. Like it might have been a mile yesterday. Like it was like for like an hour.
I need to really like get out there and be walking. I got new shoes too that I need to break in.
Wait, it's 2,000 steps in a mile, right?
I think so.
Yeah, because there's essentially like 5,280 feet in a mile, so like 2 feet per step, about 2,000. That makes sense. So yeah, like so I guess I actually walked like 3 miles, but like still, it wasn't that much walking.
You need to be walking 25,000 steps a day.
Oh, good Lord. Okay. Yeah. Well, I need to step on my walking game, but I'll work on it. But yeah, I don't know what time we started.
It was like 10:30.
Okay. So yeah, this is like perfect. So I wanted to end on like one of my favorite facts about Alaska. So true or false, the town of Talkeetna, Alaska had a cat as their mayor for 20 years.
True.
That's true. Yeah. So Mayor Stubbs, he was the mayor of Talkeetna for almost his entire life. I didn't actually know this until I looked it up. So he was born April 1997, or that's the date that they put. I don't know how they know that exactly, but I mean, actually, I guess they could have just been there when he was born. I'm used to adopting shelter cats, and you don't know their birthday. It's just like, hey, this is kind of how old they are, maybe. But he was born April 1997, and he became mayor in July 1997. And
wow, it's the baby.
Right? Like 3 months, like, man, I need to get on that level. Like,
yeah.
So behind. Stubbs was mayor at 3 months, like, and he was mayor until he passed away in July 2017. So 20 years, though, that's pretty crazy.
Impressive.
Like, not only is that like impressive, like lifespan for a cat, but also to be mayor for almost your entire life, like that's pretty great.
Yeah, I mean, like, think of all the stress that he was put under being mayor and to still live that long.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's great. Good job, Mayor Stubbs.
I know that he always drank water out of like a wine glass or something. Like he was a real fancy boy, which is funny because like Alaska is not a fancy place. Like one of the I have so many facts that I didn't include because I knew I was going to talk a lot about the things, but also I ran out of time. But like Anchorage was voted worst stressed city in the nation in 2012. Which that article
we've talked about that in a different one. So
we did. Yeah, it's been that article's been like circulating again, and it's like people think that it just happened, but it like if you look at the date on the article, it's still 2012. But yeah, Alaska's not a fancy place. Like, you know, we have the Performing Arts Center, the PAC, which is like our nice like. This is where if there's a Broadway show, it comes here. And when they do like big performances, and so we'll have people who are in like full length gowns and like all dressed to the nines. And then there's people who are like in
leggings and Uggs.
Yeah, like because that's Alaska. Like, and I mean, that's how my prom was. That's every school dance. We would have people in like full ball gowns, and then we'd literally have people in like booty shorts and a tank top.
And like, no one's wrong. Like,
and no one's wrong.
Fancy, like, it's fine. Be not fancy, that's fine too. Like,
it's kind of nice in a lot of ways. But yeah, but that's Alaska. Those are just some of the many facts about my favorite state. So we'll probably do more at one point because there's so much to talk about when it comes to Alaska. But and we can do one about, well, I don't know if you'd want to do Idaho or Alabama. Okay. That was my other thought. I was like, or you could do about like all the different places you've lived, because you've lived.
Oh yeah, I could do that. That's a good idea.
Because like I feel like we're opposites in that regard, like that I've literally been here my whole life and you've lived in so many places, which like in some ways I've been very sheltered in that way, but also like I got deep roots, man.
Yeah. I don't have roots anywhere. Well, Alabama, but yeah.
Like oh man, do you know that song No Roots? Alice Martin. No. Oh, I love that song. I got no roots, but my home is never on the ground. I got no roots. It's so catchy. The bass line is just great. I used to listen to it like over and over and over again. It's only from like a couple of years ago. But yeah. Anyways, Alaska. Yay. Wow. I have no arms anymore. Okay. So thanks for hanging out. Be sure to subscribe, like, comment, tell your friends, because you know we're cool and educational.
What was your favorite Alaska fact?
I like it. Tell us your favorite Alaska
below
fact. Yeah. What are some common misconceptions you've heard about Alaska? Because I've heard some fun ones, and I've also told some really weird ones just to see what people will believe.
Or
So
about wherever you live.
that's
What's
true. I like hearing those. Okay. Thanks, everyone. Bye.